Earth overlaps with dimensions. If we perceive the universal aspect of a stargate, we perceive the ET version of a being. Hello everyone, my name is Valeria, and in this channel we talk about spirituality and esoterics. So, this is about perspective. We can observe this from the inside as all aspects of the earth and the angelic humans, or we can observe this from the outside, from the universal stargates, and understand each star system and stargate as a world by itself, as each of them expressing specific collectives of beings, and that is when we talk about galactic history, when we are using the external perspective. So the videos on this playlist for galactic history are going to be based in that universal stargate perspective. So, Earth overlaps with dimensions. If we perceive the universal aspect of a stargate, we perceive the ET version of a being. I mean ET because it's universal, like outside from the Earth. And you perceive an interdimensional being if you consider all 12 dimensions as part of the Earth in different stages of evolution and ascension. So, when you are perceiving beings in their own signature, not as angelic humans, you notice that each of the energetic signatures are translated into something specific. For example, when we observe Arcturus, we are translating this signature and we perceive them in certain colors and shapes. And maybe we associate Arcturus with blue beings and other beings with some sort of avian, others with felines, and so on. You can watch my video about animals if you want to know more about this. When we understand this, we can start to talk about galactic history. Each group or collective of beings in the different stargates represents a life force that was awakened. So we have 12 dimensions, then each group of beings, its life force awakened in a specific dimension and has a specific energetic imprints. And when we see the stars in the sky, they are signaling the specific imprint. For example, we can observe different beings that are avian beings. But the avian beings from the star system Rigel are going to be different from the avian beings that maybe are in the star system Vega. Okay, all those signatures are interacting with each other. Sometimes there are interbreeds and we have some DNA mutations. At the same time, there are specific signatures that can exist in more than one star system. So, for example, if you connect with the imprint of Anunnaki beings, they are connected to the star Rigel, but also to Sirius A. And that is when you have stories that say that a group of beings moved from one star system to another star system and so on. Okay? So each collective of energies, they have their own specific energetic imprint, and that when that interacts with the earth, or when we observe that from the earth, is translated in specific ways. Some of those imprints are expressed in different animals on the earth, for example. Then, if beings from the universal stargates want to come directly to the earth, if those frequencies are to be expressed on the earth, we are going to perceive them in ways that are different than humans, okay? Different than angelic humans if they are coming from the outside, from the universal perspective, okay? Um, so they are going to look different than the angelic humans. Some of them are going to be compatible with bodies that exist in the third dimensional earth, like some animals, insects, felines, dolphins, beings from the ocean, and so on. And other beings can't just come and incarnate directly as something from the third dimension. Then you have beings from the fourth dimension, like Pegasus, fairies, different, mystical creators. Some of them are hybrids, okay? And some beings that are closer to the earth, they can come more directly as humanoids that look similar to angelic humans, like some Venusians and beings from Alpha Centauri, okay? While other beings don't have a direct representation and they are only represented as part of the human DNA, and we perceive them as something that is not known for us, to us. That is when you observe the traditional ET images like Arcturians and some blue beings. We don't have blue humanoids on the earth like in the city, in the same way that we have cats or felines, for example. So those are frequencies that can't incarnate directly on Earth. There are animals that carry certain frequencies, like dolphins carrying frequencies from Sirius, and then you have beings that are super different from all that is from the Earth, and those are often fallen beings because they have AI or external modifications that make them inorganic beings, okay? But they can also be beings that are just not associated with any of the 12 stargates. And that is why we don't translate them into something that is of the earth, okay? But also, some fallen beings are incarnated into insects, for example, right now, okay? And of course, into certain groups of people. So, beings as ET, from the universal perspective, they can come and incarnate some life force in the form of animals. Some of them can come directly, but most of them can't. Okay, others are going to come only through certain DNA of humans, but this is DNA that is not from the original human angelic DNA with 12 DNA strands if they are not from the 12 stargates, okay? This is the human DNA that is not like physical, but is only available in the way of galactic heritage memories. And fallen beings know how this works, how some beings look when they come to the earth, and they use holograms that look in certain ways in order to confuse people. And this is an example of false light, okay? And beings can create these holograms like in more of a massive way. To confuse collectives of people that resonate with starseeds, with ET beings, with the UFO community, and so on. Okay, so Thank you so much for watching this video. Remember to subscribe to this channel, and I am sending you so much love.